What's up? What's up? What's up? Muddwubz in the house. Muddwubz in the house. So, to kick off starting this YouTube channel, we just gonna jump straight into a project. I don't feel like wasting my time with the nitty gritty and all that. So if you're watching this, you already know the basics of music. And if you don't, as we go along, we'll cover it. But let's go ahead without further ado and let's just jump right into the project. Right to it. So, I use Fruity FL Studio 20. Using FL Studio 20, you see we got a little project set up. So, for me, I take kind of a different approach with this. And this is just my approach. This may work for you, this may not. So what I like to do is I like to build the loop first. It'll be find my sounds, get them together, and as you see here by looking at the channel rack, we'll go through each individual sound real quick. Starting with the kick. We'll go with the kick and just come down the list and add each sound. Okay, enough of that. So what do we got going on here? Alright, so for this project I did a little bit different than I normally would. And normally I've got my kick starting on channel 1 and kind of in this type of an order. But I decided we're going to use channel 1 and 2 for something a little bit different once we get a little bit further into this. So we've got the kick routed into channel 3. If you're using FL Studio and you don't know how to route your sounds, see this right here, this number right here? That is your channel routing. So you can, if you got a mouse, scroll up, scroll down. You may change the value of it however you want to do it. But you can set what channel you're routing the sound to. Now, you see this dot that we toggle them on and off with? That dot is obviously turning it mute solo. Mute, you'll be unmute. This right here, the first bar to it, this is your channel panning. So you can pan it centered, left, right. This right here is your channel volume. Now, obviously these are in pan or roll. This is in the regular mode. So now let's look at the mixer. We've got the kick on 3, the 808 in 4, the closed hat in 5, the clap in 6, snare in 7. Now for the melody, I decided to go a little bit different, and we did kind of a call and response for the melody. We still got a lot of EQing to do to you. I mean, a lot of this, a lot of arrangement. But for the melody, you got the call on channel 8, the response on channel 9, and we got chords routed into channel 10. Now, here is the part I wanted to get into. Let's go ahead and open the pattern back up. And let's listen to just the 808 for a minute. Now, for me personally, the 808 is like what I'm having fun with. And that's what I wanted this video to be about. How I'm making my 808s like this. And how I'm blending the 808 with the kick like such. All right. So this is kind of my take on the sliding 808s. And it's really, really simple. So once you got your 808 selected, you'll be able, and you kind of do this similarly with your kicks. So first off, with your kicks, you're going to go into your volume setting. Turn your delay all the way down, your attack all the way down. You're going to turn your hold all the way up, your decay time all the way down, your sustain level all the way down, and your release time all the way down. So make it this perfect, this nice little box shape here. Boom. Like so. Go your 808. Now I also, on both of these, I do believe on both of these, let me check my kick real quick. Yep, on both of these I have the normalized set. And on the 808, I've got it trimmed out some. But on the 808, you do that same box shape. Now on my 808, I actually pull back my hold some, as you see. So I've got the hold probably at about the 330-ish position. Now, here's where it gets a little bit interesting. You see this little crescent wrench looking thing? That's your miscellaneous functions. Click that. Now, you see right here, right? Right where this mouse is, this polyphony setting. Normally, these two red dots are not red. They're gray, so they're off. Turn these two red dots on, and then play with this little slider right here. Find your desired sound. Now, go a little bit further, and when you look at your EQs, on your EQ, what you're going to do, what I do, is I come to about 90 hertz, and I cut it out some on the kick. The reason being, anything under 90 hertz in the level of a kick, you're dipping into like your sub bass range. So you're dipping into, like, if you're a dubstep producer or you're any type of electronic producer, that's going into your synths and your bass range. If you're a hip hop producer or a pop producer, that's going into your 808s and your sub bass range. So you EQ the kick up out the way there, so that way the kick still hits, but it also gives your sub bass room to breathe. You get what I'm saying? And now with that, on FL Studio in the Fruity Parametric EQ2, there's a handy little setting. You go to presets. If you look at mastering, kick, and it gives you this little presets thing. You just move your one bow. There you go. Now to EQ it for the 808. Same concept. I use the same kick one, but now on this one, if you look, I brought it back to about 56 hertz and I boosted it some. Remember how we said that on the kick drum you took it to 90 hertz and you cut all that, you know what I mean? You cut all that. That way you left room for your sub to breathe. If you left room for your sub to breathe, boost them sub frequencies up so they can breathe. Let them breathe, baby. You know what I mean? And then you also come down and you kind of dip them sub frequencies out of that little bass range. Now, furthermore, on my 808, because I have my kick sidechain or routed to this track. Now, note of disclaimer here. This is an alternative way of sidechaining. What I'm about to show you, it's a method of sidechaining. A lot of people, you know, don't refer to it because they like the popular way. If you're really into sound design and you're really trying to make these beats where your bass and your 808s don't clash, your kicks and your sub basses aren't clashing, and you're trying to get that clear crispness in your bass lines, listen up, I got you. So what you do, you know how you route your sidechain and route, right? You select it, so then you go to the channel that you want to route it to. In this case, it was the 808. You right click. See how there's that little arrow? We'll look next to it at the clap. See how there's that little arrow there? If I right click, see how it says route to this track only, sidechain to this track, sidechain to this track only. A lot of people will tell you sidechain to this track. No, you don't do it that way. Route to this track only. Let me explain to you the reason why. Using the other settings, you're also going to route the settings in. You're going to route into settings as well. No, what I'm doing is I'm taking that kick and I'm directly routing it, sidechaining it to the 808. It's the way to help duck these frequencies. We playing with frequencies. You want to see what I'm talking about, playing with frequencies? You see the little timer right here? You see where the mouse is? Right here. Watch the waveform. And if you watch the mixer, we're going to pause this again. I'm going to turn my mic off and play it. Just watch the mixer waveforms and watch up there. See how we playing with the waveforms? Now, for you bass heads, oh yes, for you bass heads, you looking for that high quality bass, huh? You want your bass to have pizzazz. You want your bass to be great, don't you? Well, let me teach you something and let me help you, because when I first was learning this, I was doing this the tail backwards way, so I kept screwing up, and I kept wondering, why the hell does my bass sound like total trash? Why does my bass sound like total trash? So peep this out. When you're mixing, down here at the bottom, see where these two are purple? This right here is your stereo separation mono toggle. Straight up and down is obviously, neither nor effect. If you take it all the way to the left, it turns blue. That means that you have 100% separation. That means that you're mixing that sound in stereo. For bass, when you're making that bass sound, you want it mixed in mono. You don't want it stereo, you want it mono. So you want to turn that knob all the way to the right. If it's purple, it's purple. It's up, it's up, it's up. Now, I gave y'all enough of a peek of a project here. I gave y'all just enough of a peek of a project. I hope y'all enjoyed the little tutorial, little setup. For those of you, into production, we'll go back to the product so I can talk a little bit more. Alright, so now that we got, this loop kind of built like we want to, I'll be honest, I don't have it EQ'd like I want to yet. But we'll come back and EQ more later. Here's what I do. So you see how I got the loop and I got it all separated by channels, right? Now, before we go to the next step, I want to note personal preference. Panning does wonders for creating headroom in your beat. It does wonders for helping you fit sounds. If you look here, you'll notice that I have my hi-hat, my clap, and my snare all channeled to the right. Just enough to move the sound around to give room. Now back to this. So go ahead, click view playlist. As you see, I had the pattern clip there just so I could see how many bars it was. I want to make sure it was where I wanted it. I had to do some editing. So now we got pattern 1. We're going to right click on pattern 1 and we're going to go here and we're going to click split by channel. Bam! It just did the hard work for us and split all of them individual patterns into their channel. So now this is where we can start arranging. Now for personal preference, I personally like to arrange them by the number I have them in the mixer slot. So like here, if we look, my kick is on 3. So my kick on here will go on track 3. I've seen various people doing it various ways. I'm not here to tell you who's right, who's wrong. I'm just showing you my look, my take on it. So now that we have that, I know how we're going to start, I do believe. Hold on. Give me just a second. Yep, chords. All right. So we're going to start with the chords. Now the chords are on channel 10. So we're going to come down here to channel 10. And I kind of do this a really, really easy way, and build from there. So we're going to start with the chords. See how I've got it on the paintbrush thing? Drop one down. Oops, oh, not there though. Drop it down, take the paintbrush, and just go across. Now, hold on. Schmickle Fritz. Hold on. Alright, there we go. Let's do this again. Bow. So I'll just take them, go all the way across. Now while it's right there like that, boom, we're gonna go there. So now we got the chords right there. All right, melody response, channel 9. And for me, this is just kind of an easy way just to put the structure together. It may work for you, it may not. Boom. Melody call.
Fuck off. Oh, sorry.
Hey. Boop. Alright. Snare. 7. And we'll really just copy and paste this. Just like this. Now, some people will say you can make templates. You can. If you want me to be honest, I just haven't got around to it yet. Alright. Boom. Like so. Alright. Boom, like so. Now that we got that like that, we can start doing this the easy way. And start fleshing out what we don't need. Kind of building the structure of the song. For me, this is just honestly a really easy way to do that. Let's see. Alright, that's going to come out. That's going to come out. And as you see, I mean, now we're kind of just fleshing out something. Right now, this is just for me, just getting kind of a rough idea of a track structure. I mean, kind of a flow of the track. I mean, as we go through this, we're going to EQ, structure more. But for me, that's how I do it. Now, there's different ways for different folks, different strokes for different folks. The way I just showed you might not even work for you. But, hey, at least you might have learned something. Catch y'all another time.